Hello, everyone. Welcome to Natty News, the nattiest news show in the world. My name is Anwar, and I'm joined once again with my great co-host Pat. Pat, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. A lot better than actually the last episode, whenever that was. Just feeling stronger and actually got a lift in today because it's actually a Sunday recording. It's good.
Nice, man. That's good to hear. I lifted this morning and wasn't feeling the strongest, so I think the cut's been affecting me a bit, or it might be just an early morning start too.
Yeah, how's the cut going though?
It's been going really well. Only thing is, I've been doing a lot more cardio, and my knee's been acting up a bit. So I took a break from doing any squats or any kind of like bending movement for it, just to rest it a little bit. And I actually bought a bike yesterday, so I'm hoping to go get on, do some bike rides, just get some nice low impact movement in there, get some blood flowing, and also, man, it's been so nice. So I'm just gonna cycle around, and yeah, I love biking around.
Do I hear you talking about the weather?
After I gave you crap about it
I
last
got
time.
you.
Oh, you did get me, man. You got me good.
uh,
uh, hey, we should go cycling sometime, man. Hey, let's get some good natty cardio.
yeah, well, after I compete and finish this cut, you never know. I might fall off the bike. I'm pretty uncoordinated.
Hey, once you learn how to do it, you can't forget. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but hey, anything else going on with you? Anything you want to let the viewers know going on in the world of Pat Wu?
I am happy to say I'm done my master's degree, and I mean, I probably look and feel a little bit less stressed out. It's great. I'm glad to be done. I finished on like a random like Sunday night at home when I submitted an assignment, and I was like, oh, I guess that's it.
Dude, man, congratulations. I mean, that is a huge accomplishment to get your master's done. And it really does blow my mind, though, about like how much education you've really gone through and like how deep of knowledge you really have. While I've just learned all my stuff from fitness forums and YouTube videos.
Hey, you need that perspective too. I never want to lose my perspective of like of the like regular person. You know, I still like my bro splits and my bicep curls. I don't care if it's not scientifically the best bicep exercise.
Yeah, you're probably one of the most educated bros I've ever met.
Yeah, I'm an overqualified, overeducated bro. It's great.
Oh man, but once again, congratulations, and just reminds the listeners of the prestige and the care we take in Natty News.
Yeah, the foremost natty news show in the world, as we always say.
Yeah, actually, I have never heard CNN or CBC ever claim to be natty. Like, just want to say, they've never said that they were natty certified.
I don't think they are natty certified, to be completely honest with some of the things you hear.
This is completely off topic, but I don't know if you saw this, but one of the news anchors on CNN, I can't remember his name. I think it was Chris Kimono or something. But he has a fake 100-pound dumbbell that he pretends to curl and overhead press, and like people were thinking it was real. So he would just be like randomly curling this 100-pound
Oh my
dumbbell,
goodness.
and like people were thinking like, yeah, he's a big guy, he could do that. Like it was like on Joe Rogan and all that. It was the craziest thing. Like because me and you know, curling 100 pounds is insane.
I
Like,
don't think anyone can do it with no effort in the world. I think even
oh,
the strongest guy, you'd have to try and put something
oh
into it.
yeah, there was actually a video of a strongman competitor, like at World's Strongest Man, doing it, and he could do it, but he was like, oh, like really pushing for it.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, so Chris Komodo, you're certified not natty for using fake weight.
Actually, canceled.
Oh man. Well, anyways, so today's topic is about Pat. It's about Pat bread and butter, his career. We are talking about personal training and whether you should be a personal trainer or not.
Yeah, Edward's about to end my entire career. This talk on Natty News. This is not a discussion where we do our usual. Anwar's one of the greatest lifter I know. And then Anwar's like, Pat has an Adonis physique and he's the best trainer in the world. No, we are going head to head today on Natty Dude.
Oh man, I mean, yeah, this is something I'm very passionate about, and something where I really feel people get misguided about personal training. Um, and I mean, again, that's how Pat makes most of his money. So this is going to be an interesting conversation. But before we kind of go into the feelings, I mean, I can admit there is value in personal training in a very slim use cases. I think there's some good value in it, but. Before kind of delving into that, I think we should talk about what motivates people. Why did they get personal trainers? Like, what are the goals of a personal trainer? So, from your experience, Pat, and some of our discussion, what do you think are some goals of personal training?
Yeah, there's a lot of common ones, and I think you can go as deep as you like. But on the superficial level, you usually hear a couple. You hear uh, fat loss, you hear muscle gain. I think those are like the most common ones. And then usually kind of tertiary to that, usually hear like um, fear of going to the gym and wanting to overcome that. Uh, I think another common reason is just not having motivation to exercise is another reason people go for a trainer. Um, in some cases, it's like because of prior injury that they go to a trainer to seek guidance on their exercises to learn better technique. Um, I would say those are the superficial reason. I think the common theme in all those is people have some established barrier to exercise that they've determined, and they hope that and they think that the trainer will help them overcome that barrier. What do you think? Do you have any other things I missed?
You know, I agree with all of those, and those are all very valid. I think there's one more too, where I think people have this feeling where if you pay for something, you get a better product. So, like, the idea is if I pay for a personal trainer, I will get to my gains, I'll get to my goals faster and easier than if I didn't have one. So, I think it's this idea that paying for, I mean, that's how it normally works. When you pay for something, you get a better product, get better end results. So, I don't know what's the right word for that, maybe prestige or idea of efficiency or something, but I think that's another factor why a lot of people go for personal trainers.
I think I agree with that. I'm pretty sure that 100% of the people that pay for personal training believe that will get them to the goals faster, at least initially. Like I think, and then whatever happens afterwards, I think there are mixed results. But yeah, going into it, I think people believe they're going to get a return on it.
I mean, and as they should be. I mean, again, whenever you pay for something, you expect a certain result better than if you didn't pay for it.
Yeah, it takes a special type of guy to pay someone that you think is going to do a pretty bad job for you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, so those look all pretty, I mean, those are all very valid reasons and concerns for a personal trainer. Now, maybe to kind of jump into it, I feel though a lot of times personal trainers don't satisfy those. And again, I know I use this word a lot, but I think a lot of personal trainers are charlatans.
That is one of your 5 favorite words, along with probably Adonis and other things. No, like I think it's what, this is our podcast. It's okay to shit on people. I think that a lot of trainers are charlatans. Like, and I think look no further than when you see things like 4 week like summer ab shred challenge. Like, how are you going to guarantee someone's going to get abs? Maybe they're starting at 35% body fat. Maybe they don't naturally show abs. Like there's all these things, and like I think a lot of fitness statements you hear, 70% of them, they sound like scams, and a lot of them are.
Oh man, dude. Like this. I think we should also do an episode where we go through every single scam. Because I think we could actually talk about it for over an hour, is just go through scams and explain like, okay, this is why this is BS. Um, but to kind of focus on personal training, and one of the big things I have against personal training, and one of the things that really makes me feel the wrong way, and it has to do with accessibility. Because for me, I think going to the gym is one of the best things anyone can do in their life. Like, you don't have to compete, you don't have to be like super strong or want to be muscly. I think going to the gym teaches a lot of great skills, builds up confidence, just makes you feel good, and it's a fantastic thing for everyone to do. But I think the problem is, and a big thing in the fitness industry, is they like to put paywalls, these fictional paywalls behind accessibility. So if someone's coming in with no experience, they don't know anything about working out, they see from the outside, we're like, oh man, like, oh, I should get a personal trainer, or I need to get a diet coach, I need to get all this other stuff. I might not make much money, I might be in high school, or might be like in between jobs or something, and like, oh, I can't afford it, I can't go to the gym, like it's just too much money right now. And I really hate hearing this, because one of the things I like going about the gym is it's cheap. It's one of the cheapest things you can do. You can get like some cheap membership, go work out, have a good time, feeling good. But I feel though personal training, it creates this lack of accessibility, and it does it one from the image of it, and it does it another way too, where I think as a personal trainer, it's a bit counterintuitive to be a good one. And what I mean is, like, a good personal trainer will teach you the firm, will teach you how to progress, will teach you basically everything we say here in Natty News, and then kind of then at that point you're on your own, and then you lose a client, and then oh man, you're stuck, and then you have to go get another one. It's a whole mess. Well, like a personal trainer, it's counterintuitive to be good. You kind of have to give like a little bit at a time, so the person has to stay dependent to you, and they stay going to gym so you can get that paycheck. And it doesn't sit with me in the right way. And before, I want to also emphasize, Pat isn't like that. Like, I've seen what Pat does for his clients. Like, Pat actually does give good programs and all that. So I don't want people to think there's some Natty News beef.
Oh man, yeah, no, I think, and we're warming up here. This is the point I don't really disagree with. It's a high cost product. I mean, where we are in Vancouver, it's you're probably looking on the low end at least at $80, upwards of $100, depending where you are. Like if you're downtown, it's going to get up there. And it is an accessibility problem. I think for a beginner, if you're solely going to a personal trainer, like if that's the only time you exercise, probably you can't do one time a week. You're not going to get any results. You go 3 times a week. Like honestly, if you're going to get results, and then times 4 weeks in a month, that's like $1,200. That is, I think for most people, regardless if you earn a lot of money, that's still a significant sum of money. Like there's a very small percentage of people where that is just like a negligible throwaway amount. And some people will feel like they need to do that. And I do think that is a big barrier, and that, as you said, fitness can be accessible. And like, I think people should know that there are also just like affordable options, like joining a gym. And I think even on the lower end, there are some really good online creators that like have like $10 or even like a Patreon, like $5 resources. Like those are also options for people. And I think people should know that. And then on the worst end of that is that you pay that $1,200 a month and your trainer sucks. Like he's like, they're just trying to make sure you keep coming back. So they're actually holding you back from results. And holy shit, those are the worst type of trainers. Those actually, like, like first of all, they're scamming people. Secondly, people are not getting results, right? And like and they're the type of trainers that are going to blame their client for messing up. Like, oh, you didn't adhere to your diet. That's why you're not getting results. I'm not going to do anything to assist your behavior change, or you're not getting stronger. I'm sure it must be your bad form. It hurts. Your body's just not built for it. Like, and those type of people, not only did they take away someone's money, but now the client feels like they're dependent on someone to work out. Like they can go on holiday, have a gym, and they're like, I don't even know what the hell to do. I'm like, you've invested maybe $10,000 in a person, and you go to this place and you don't know how to do it. Like I'm a piano teacher. Like if someone invested $10,000 in me in piano lessons, and they went and saw a piano, they can't play it. Holy crap! Biggest scam of all time. So I do agree with that.
Oh man, I think the dependence thing really also gets me, because I feel though a lot of personal trainers, in my eyes, I kind of see them as like glorified babysitters, because it kind of is a little silly in a way, where you see these personal trainers, they come, they load the bar, they load all the weights for you. It's kind of like they're cleaning up for you and like doing all that, and then they have to motivate you to be like, okay, let's go 5-6 more reps.
Yeah.
Where I think like one of the most valuable things from going to a gym is gaining discipline. where I think that's like the most, it's more valuable than the muscles, it's more valuable than anything, is the discipline, where I'm going to go here, I'm going to push myself as hard as I can, I'm going to commit to this, and then I'm going to reap the rewards from it. Like building that discipline, like that's life changing. That's more valuable than muscles. That's more valuable than like deadlift PRs or anything like that. And I feel though a lot of personal trainers, they become a crutch where you don't really have that same discipline, where you are kind of depending on this person to push you, to provide everything for you, to kind of keep you accountable. Well, it really should be an intrinsic thing, I feel.
Yeah, and I mean, I think to counter that point, I really do think that for some people who have that money to spare, and I do have clients like that, that it is simply a convenience. Like it just makes things easier. It's like just like hiring somebody to do cleaning for you and to manage the house. Like it is a convenience, and I do want to say that some people, honestly, when they come to work out, they just they don't really want to stress about it, and I do think that's fair. But I think on the other hand, that if you're getting that service, that trainer should still expect, you should still expect your trainer to teach you how to train at a very high level. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like getting high level education. Like when I hear of someone that's been to a trainer for a prolonged period of time, I should be thinking this person should know how to lift way better than the person who goes to the gym for a free membership, because they have actually invested money in this education. And I think um, if you're not getting that, then you are being shortchanged, like in terms of the person that you're kind of paying for.
See, you're bringing up an interesting point about education. And so you're kind of saying that, like, with a good personal trainer, not only are you getting a good workout, but you should also be educated. Is that kind of like what would you think would be one of the things you should look for?
Yeah, and I want to say that is not the norm. I've worked in multiple gyms and I've seen trainers that like literally your personal training session is basically they have on a sheet of paper their workout, and the workout's just like, okay, now we're doing squats, now we're doing push-ups, now we're doing curls, now we're doing sit-ups, um, and there's never much context of why are you doing squats, um, and a lot of clients, they don't really understand, like, why are we pushing to failure here, why aren't we pushing to failure there, why do we rest longer here? That goes missing a lot of the time. And I think that I believe that you should always be educating my clients. I take great pride that my clients understand what they're doing. Like if somebody was to ask them uh, in the gym, why are you resting 90 seconds after your set of back squats? They can tell them why they're resting that amount of time and why they're resting less during like an accessory exercise. Like I think it's important that they know that.
And see, and like, I completely agree with you. I think the education is huge. And I mean, that's kind of a reason why I feel like maybe paying the premium would be worth it, is if you're getting that education, because it can be a little tough finding all that stuff online. There's a lot of people have an opinion and they're not all right. Um, but it kind of goes back to my point before, where being a good personal trainer is counterintuitive, because if you teach people the programming, you teach them the exercises, what are you left for? It's kind of like, here's a little fun fact for you, Pat, where in the 1900s they were able to make light bulbs that never burned out. Like you could have, like, light bulbs weren't supposed to burn out. They could actually last for like hundreds of years. But
Yeah.
then the light bulb company's like, wait, how are we going to sell more? So they artificially made them crappier so people would buy more. And so I think it's the same idea with personal training, where you can't be that good. You have to kind of be a little, you can't reveal all your hands, I feel.
Yeah, I mean you can be that good, and but I think it puts it out there that you just have to have a hope and have a trust that your service is so good that people who have the privilege of affording it will enjoy and just continue to show up. Like I definitely have clients that, like, yeah, I've coached them good enough that they only need to see me once a month, or just to get a tune up when they prefer it. And yes, I may have lost a few dollars there, but yeah, it's definitely the tougher way to go. Like the easier way to go is to say, yeah, you got to stay on my programming, 3 times a week training, um, preferably 5 times a week to get the best results. Like that is like that's the way to make the big bucks, to be honest. But it can be very dishonest, and it's very common. It is out there for sure.
Oh man. Well, here's another thing though. I feel a lot of personal trainers too, They might not be scammers. They're not trying to scam. They just don't know better. Like they have a very like small view of what like the fitness world is, or like how to get this goal, and they just fit that one hole, and they just don't
True.
know more. Like I mean, again, we said we weren't gonna like praise each other, but I mean, you have a master's. Like you are incredibly educated on this topic, and like most personal trainers go to a weekend class. Like it's not even comparable.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll talk about education later, but it doesn't have to be a degree, but also just like years on the floor practicing. I genuinely think like if it's your first year being a trainer, you can't be charging like extreme premium rates, and you shouldn't be promoting yourself as such too. I was guilty of this too when I started being a trainer. Like, you write your little like cute little profile thing, and like just really like buffing myself up. Like, oh, I have all these accessory certifications and I'm like really experienced in this and that. No, if you're a new trainer, I don't care if you've been lifting for 15 years, you don't know shit. And like you should it's like I think a lot of people are dishonest about that. Like if everybody is really honest, like I'm a trainer. These are the things I'm good at. These are the things I'm not that good at. Like if people were really clear and transparent on that, it'd be easier to choose that service, right? Whether or not you want to do it, that's up to you. But at least less people are kind of being lied to or being deceived when it comes to that decision.
Yeah, oh man. I mean, I remember, and this is a bit of a story, not as factual. When I was like, I think I was like 20 years old, and I recently moved, and I was doing one of those free passes, one of a gym to check out. And with this free pass, you had to go through a consultation with a personal trainer before they would let you work out. And
Okay.
I was like a little grouchy. I was like, man, okay, I just want to work out. I don't care about this. I'm not gonna hire you. And then this guy was like asking me like, oh, what do you like to do? Like, what are you training for? And I was like, oh, I want to get stronger, and I like to powerlift and all that. He's like, oh man, yeah, I love seeing guys just crush PRs and stuff. Like, man, I can get you so strong. And it was a sales pitch, and I was getting a little annoyed at the sales pitch. So I remember I asked him like, okay, well, I want to deadlift 600 pounds. How can I do that? And he just kept on giving buzzwords about like, oh well, we're gonna really emphasize that as fast twitch muscles, and we'll do a lot of explosive work. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
like how would you do it? How would I get? I can deadlift about like 530 right now. How am I getting to 600 pounds? Like, tell me exactly what you're gonna do for
Yeah.
me. And
You know what a really good trainer would have said?
what? Like, what would they say?
With on the first day meeting you, a good trainer would say, I don't know if I get you to 600 pounds. Like real talk. Like, how the fuck do I like you could have been made for all I know, you could have been working out for 20 years and you could have been busting your balls to get to 530. Maybe there isn't 70 pounds in you. Like the fact that he was like, yeah, I'll get you 600 pounds, man. That's I think that was like a no there. Go away.
Yeah, and I mean, again, I think most people they know when they're getting sold to, and like that's like I mean, if you actually ever take any like real like business, sales, and marketing class, one of the things is like everyone knows when a salesman's selling to them. You have to like when you sell a product, you're trying to make sure that it can fit into that solution. You just want to sell buzzwords, so it was very much very like annoying, and it kind of I mean again I already had a distaste for personal trainers, but that was like man like you don't know what you're talking about. Like I was being a bit of an asshole, but I was thinking like you probably can't even deadlift 2 plates, and you're telling me you can take me to 600.
Yeah, and I think that's really common. Again, I have been guilty. Like, I think a lot of newer trainers they just step out of their scope very often because they're and again, this is part of this. It's a systemic problem because if you work for a gym, like you only get paid when you work, and there's pressure from the gym for you to get people,
Yeah.
and you start trying to take on clients for goals that you honestly like don't think you can do. Like I remember because I started out working at a gym with like elderly people. There was like simply a client that just had so many like problems, like all sorts of musculoskeletal problems that honestly I wasn't equipped for. And luckily eventually I just referred them out to a guy that was smarter than me. But a lot of people do that. They'll take on people with maybe injuries that they don't know how to handle, or people with goals that are like way too lofty. They're like, I want to lose 150 pounds. They're like, I can get you there. It's like, can you? Right? And like, or goals like you coming in saying you need a 600-pound deadlift. Like any average trainer should be very hesitant about trying to take on that client because they are going to leave very displeased, right? If you can't get them there.
Yeah, exactly. And again, I think looking back now, I understand where that person's coming from, where you know what, they gotta make money, and yeah, they don't make money unless they train someone, and I get it. It's a tough world, and it can be really tough on that. And it really is a systemic industry problem. And yeah, I think about it, and people probably the obvious argument to what I'm saying is like, okay, how am I supposed to learn? Like, if I'm not going to take a trainer, how am I going to learn if my firm is right and all that? And I understand. I think I came from a really privileged background because I think a lot of people really helped me out, and I think I am a bit harsh on personal trainers because I've had such a good amount of support. Like, I mean, you and I started lifting really early on, and even though much more now. Like 13-year-old Pat knew quite a bit, honestly. I would say 13-year-old Pat was better than most personal trainers.
He could have been making money earlier.
Yeah. And like, just thinking of like another bit of an anecdote. Me and you, we used to work at this community center a lot, right?
Yep.
And do you remember the guy we used to nickname Chest Bra?
Yeah, I remember chess, bro.
Yeah. So, anyways, I remember one time I was talking with him, and so for those not in the loop, so Chest Bra was a nickname we gave to this guy. He was, I think, like in his early 20s, big guy, man. Like he did some powerlifting, he could bench 3 plates like nothing. Really nice guy. Anyways, and he would be like the gym attendant of this community center. And I would talk to him sometimes, and I would ask him for some like tips and tricks and like even some firm checks. And he was always super helpful, really nice, and gave some very good advice. And I remember I was asking him because he used to do personal training. I blatantly asked, like, hey, do you think it's worth it to get a personal trainer? Like, I really want to try to get strong and all that. And he kind of blatantly told me, like, hey, man, listen, just go to the gym, keep doing what you're doing, keep lifting heavy, eating, just do what you're doing now. Cause like a personal trainer, like I'll be honest with you, man, I just sit around and babysit and pretend to motivate people. Like he was very blatant with me where he's like, you don't really gain anything from it. I can see you have a fire, you're gonna work hard, don't waste your money, you're a teenager. Which looking back, it was very cool that he said that because I'm sure he could have used the money.
Yeah, he's the most honest scam trainer ever. Shout out to Chess Bra.
Yeah. Well, I think that's one thing true about the gym where like in the gym, a lot like you want to see everyone succeed. Like I'm sure it's happened to you where people ask you like, "Hey, can you give me a firm check?" Or like, "Hey, I noticed you were doing this. Can you show me?" And like, I mean, I'm always happy to do that. And I've asked people to show me stuff before too. So I think that like the gym is a very friendly community in a lot of ways. And I think I've learned the most from just asking, the gym bros, like, hey, how do I do this? And a lot of times they give pretty good advice.
I will say though that I do think there is a lot of like bad culture in the gym nowadays, and I do think we kind of I think we went to places with like a pretty positive environment. Obviously we worked out at school and we worked out at those community centers that had a lot of people that are willing to help, but there are a lot of people out there that like are super intimidating. There's some people that will give bad advice too.
Yeah.
Because you will often look to the big guy in the gym and think, okay, like he probably knows what he's doing, but sometimes they're not natty and they're giving you advice on how to lift or sometimes they don't have good form. Like, and a lot of people can get away with good form, but not everybody can. And what's right for someone might not be right for you. And that's where like I would say getting professional level advice, whether that be like free on the internet or professionally from a personal trainer, is valuable. But again, the question is like, how do you sift out who is a good professional and who's just like someone trying to scam and make a quick buck off you?
No, you're completely right about that, actually. Like, I'm kind of saying this where I think me and you were very privileged in that, where we actually were in good communities and a lot of really good, strong, helpful people gave us fantastic advice and mentorship. And as much as we want to push it forward, not everyone is as lucky for that. And also, like, again, I think maybe some people might not be comfortable doing that. And that's, you can't expect someone to be like, hey, the only way you can get good, get strong is you have to go talk to this big, intimidating guy. So that can definitely be really tough. So I think now I bet I do understand a lot more the need for personal training, but it really does irk me about how many people get like misled from personal training. And I guess one of the big reasons we're making this episode too is about like, listen, if you don't have any friends who can help you out, or if you don't feel comfortable asking for help or filming yourself and posting it and doing all that, and you think a personal trainer is right for you, we want to help you get the best damn personal trainer you can get. We want you all to get the patch out there. We want Avon to have a patch level personal trainer because there are very good personal trainers out there, just few and far between.
Yeah, and honestly, if one of you viewers are like looking for a good trainer, like I am like very lucky to be connected with like a big network of really good trainers, like not just in Canada but in some other spots. So yeah, like we at Natty News want to help you sift it out. Don't get scammed.
Yeah, exactly. So I think there is a value in the personal training if you really like you don't got any connections like the ones we did and you do want to get into it. But again, I think we want to really emphasize the pitfalls of personal trainers. But with all my negativity and all my criticism out of the way, let's kind of go to a more positive end and talk about, okay, you want to get a personal trainer. How should you pick one? Like, how should you find one? What should you look for in one?
Yeah, I'll give my thoughts first. It's a question I've had to answer and think about many times. I go through that imposter syndrome of like, what the hell am I doing here? Am I scamming people? So I think actually the most important thing is that they're transparent. Actually, like beyond all the other stuff, because a transparent person will show kind of exactly what they're all about. And not to pump my own tires, but I try to be like really transparent, like on social media and things like that. um just in, like as simple as like if I'm showing my lifting, I'll show myself failing, or I won't just show myself at like angles that like make me look really buff and nice, things like that. um or that, like, when you hear them talk, like, oh, people are on like stories right now and they talk about stuff like, is it always talking about trying to sell something, or are they providing something that's like genuinely of good value? And do they show like a friendly, genuinely friendly personality, like someone that actually sounds like they give a crap about the job, beyond the buck of it? And I think that if you look into it, like you can tell, like there's people that are just genuine about their craft. That's obviously more of like a soft skill thing. I think easy one to see is like, do they walk the walk? If you're looking for a personal trainer, first of all, they need to have done like strength training, cardio training. They need to have shown that they've done that very well. They should have good form. If your trainer has bad form, like, it's fine if you're paying them $5, but don't be paying $90 for someone who's going to teach you to lift incorrectly. So walking the walk is huge. Experience of meeting like goals that you have met, or experience helping other people meet your goals. So I work with a lot of like elderly people, for example, and a lot of them have, for example, I've had joint or knee replacements. I am too young, hopefully, to have a knee replacement, so I can't have gone through that goal myself. But I have helped some of my clients who've had a knee replacement to get back to walking, squatting, jogging, like the things they loved. And like, if you can see that testimonial and you're that person looking for that help, you're like, okay, well, he's at least done it with someone else. Like, that is a very important baseline. That's unlike the trainer that has never worked with a elderly person and they're like, yeah, I can fix your knee. Nope, no physio. Like, you hear stuff like that, big red flag. And then lastly, everybody will want to talk about education. And I think that, I think the certifications, it's not that they don't matter, but I don't think the certifications make the professional. Just because someone has a CSCS, strength and conditioning coach, or they're kinesiologist, or they've got like their like functional, like magic arm growing specialist, whatever certification, it doesn't make them a good trainer. What makes them a good trainer, I think, is a combination of the theory, and also their ability to put it in practice. So if someone's been a trainer for like 5 years and they've got lots of great genuine testimonials, and you've heard them talk and they have at least like a critical approach to working out, it seems like there's progression. It seems like they're adaptable. Like the way they train adapts to you, and not just you have to adapt to their very hard ass training style. I think if they have all those things, that can actually indicate like education level a lot higher than some other things. Anwar, I don't know if you've checked out, like heard of the like knees over toes guy that's been on the internet.
I've actually seen some of his stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, so like knees over toes guys didn't do a degree in kinesiology, right? And
Yeah.
I'm gonna lie, at first I was like, this guy's a big scammer because his video sounds so clickbaity and he does all like the ab angles.
Yeah.
But I look into it and I realized he takes some of those points. He has gone through the goal himself. He's broke his knees and he's fixed them. He's also helped other people do it. And I know not just like people from the internet, people, but in my community who he's helped. And he has a critical thinking approach. His favorite saying is like, I want to teach you to get active doing something at your level. Like he emphasized your level. Like you don't have to do the freaking crazy squat right now, but there's a way we can modify it for you. And like when you hear someone like that, you're like, okay, at least I'm probably gonna be in good hands. And this guy like has a human heart. Like he's got empathy and he's got desire to help. And I think that's important. But yeah, that's my take.
I will, first of all, agree with practically all of it, but also wanted to say with the knees over toe guy. I remember actually I was watching one of his videos and I thought the same thing as you. Like this guy's just like he's being a bit of a scammer, like maybe not scammer, but he's kind of doing some clickbaity stuff here. But when I actually watched one of his videos about, I think it was actually hamstring mobility, and he was suggesting me similar stuff you told me. I was like, oh boy, this guy knows what he's talking about. So like, no, I need to watch more of his stuff. But of the stuff I've seen, it's good information. Like I need to take into account some of his tips. But no, really been enjoying his stuff.
Yeah, and actually, last point in regards to like using him as an example is, he'll do things, and regardless of whether you agree or disagree, he always explains why he's doing them. And I think a good trainer will always do that for you, right? I don't think everything I ever throw at my clients they'll love, but at least I explain it, and they know why I'm giving it to them, and they can try it. And if they really hate it, they can let me know. But at least they know that's important.
Yeah, and I just want to bring up more about like the education point, because I think not only in lifting, but I think in a lot of facets of life, people put education as a gatekeeping, and I feel like though, even if you're educated in something, doesn't mean you are more capable than someone that didn't have that formal education. Again, like it is maybe a little rare, like, but I mean, I'm sure I studied electrical engineering. I bet you there's a hobbyist who just played with electronics for decades who knows far more than I know, even though I went to school for it. So I think you can't always judge someone based off just a piece of paper. And I think with personal training, that is incredibly true since, again, most personal training certifications aren't very rigid. They're not like some extreme program where it's super hard to get through and all
You
that.
can pass those and have no idea how to train people. Actually, some of them have outdated content. Some
Yeah.
very sketchy ones. Oh man, yeah, yeah. Some of them will give you actually wrong content. So it's yeah.
Exactly. So it's kind of like I feel though those certifications they mask people's incompetence, and it really is kind of hard sometimes if you're a beginner to see if someone is truly knowledgeable or truly the one for you. Because I think one thing you and I can agree on is like if they keep on mentioning fads, like if they're like, okay, we're gonna get you on a fat burner keto diet and then do a bunch of hits and you're just gonna shred off all your weight. Like for me, when you and I hear that, that's red flags. That's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Are you sure that's the right way to go? But
Yeah.
there are a lot of people, they'll be like, oh, wait, I've heard of keto. Yeah, no, that seems to work. And like, hit, oh, what's that? That seems really
Yeah.
fancy and advanced. And it's hard, though, I think, for some people who have no background on being able to distinguish between these fads and this marketing and sales pitch.
Yeah, well, especially when they're taking advantage of people's vulnerabilities, right? Like they're not selling the diet; they're selling like this is going to help you lose weight fast. And for some people, where for whatever reason they really desire that, you catch them at the right time and frame of mind. That's where you drag people into something that honestly is probably not going to work or can be long term damaging.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the big advice is like if you really want to find someone who emphasizes learning, and I completely agree with you. I think the learning that's what you're kind of paying for. I think you're paying for the learning where, like for me, I learned practically everything I know from gym bros, YouTube videos, and fitness firms, and I mean, I still have a lot to learn and a lot to figure out, and I mean, I spent a lot of time on that. So if you don't want to spend your time doing all that, hiring someone that's the luxury. You hire someone who's gone through and learns all that for you and is teaching you that. You're not paying someone to help clean up the weight or telling you to get an extra set. You're paying someone to teach you and for you to learn from. So I think that learning thing is a really important part about when you're picking a coach.
That's actually, yeah, that's actually a great way to we're not disagreeing enough. This is a problem. uh, no, that's actually a great way to rationalize it though. That a lot of the value in a trainer is what you learn. And even, even if we're talking about like them yelling at you to finish a set, the hope is that I could actually argue that that's learning something. Something for me when I got my Olympic lifting coach Jeremy is when I did 80 kilo snatch, it got in my head and I just like would wuss out in it a lot. And hey, if I can learn from it, like, okay, like how to push myself, because we talked about how to push yourself in the gym, truly taking an exercise to the edge of your ability, or truly being mindful about an exercise while you're doing it. That's a skill too, and like that's something you can learn. And if you're learning a lot, then perhaps it really can be of great value to you.
Yeah. Oh man, it's all about learning, man. Um, but yeah. So all right. So we spent a lot of time talking about in-person personal trainers, but actually, before I transition, is there anything else you want to talk about this topic before we go over to our other one?
No, I think it's pretty good. Well, what's your final take on in-person training? Who should get it?
Ah,
Who shouldn't? What are your biggest quips against it?
see, I mean, you could call me a meathead, you could call me just gym bro, but I do like kind of the grind of like doing your own research and going through and really learning the stuff and that whole process and asking for help and learning from others. Like I really love that, and I really think that's a great way to learn, a great experience. But I admit it's not for everyone. First, not everyone has that option, and two, not everyone that's not really interesting to them, or it's not worth it for them. And I get that. So I think if you want to get into lifting, but you don't have any other resources, be it friends or family members, and you're not comfortable with asking and figuring it out, then I think a personal trainer is really, it can be a great resource for that. But be incredibly cautious. I think you should be, you're paying good money, so you should be very critical. If someone's not meeting all your expectations, there are a ton of them. So really go out and find yourself a Pat.
Another day, another plug. No, I agree with a lot of that. I think, yeah, I think it's a big investment, and it really pays to take your time and kind of sift out what might be right for you. And if you don't know, ask, like look for social proof from them, do what you can. And I think as you start working with a trainer, a good trainer is really gonna like educate you, empower you. Like you should be learning a lot, and hopefully it should also be a lot of fun. Like back when we were young and learning from YouTube channels, like yes, that was free education, but I would say like that was training that we got. Like we were having fun. We're like, oh damn, like there's like for example, like pull-ups this way they work more your lats, and then we learn another day pull-ups this way they work more your biceps. Hey, that's pretty cool. Or like we could do a drop set, or here's another way to superset it with exercises. Hopefully a good trainer will inspire you to get have a lot of fun, not just with the lifting itself, but also like learning about your body and its capabilities.
Oh yeah, man. No, I completely agree with that. And so yeah, so we spent a lot of time talking about in-person personal training, and one because, in my opinion, I think in-person is the biggest scam. Well, actually, maybe 50-50, but two, also because it's the most common. When people think of personal training, they think of one-on-one in-person personal training.
Yes.
But what we also want to talk about is online personal training. And see, I actually think online personal training can actually be more useful and better, but for different reasons. But before we kind of go into that, let's maybe talk about what would be online personal training. Like, I know you do a lot of online personal training. So, what do you offer in your programs?
Yeah, I think there's multiple types of online training. So what we're not talking about is like, for example, a lot of like fitness influencers, like Steve Cook, for example, like he has like an app with like he just posts his workouts and you go and like do his workouts. That's not personal training. There's nothing against that. Like that's cool. You get a workout, you get a service, you get to interact. But online personal training is where you should be getting a. In my case, we do a personal consultation. I ask the person about their goals. So, for example, Anwar, your goals are to lose some fat while maintain your lifts, while being able to keep up with all the cardiovascular activity you do. You also have some knee pain, so we want to make sure, hopefully, that we can address that, maybe get it better, or at least not have it get worse. So we do consultation, and then, in at least in the form that I promote, you get a personalized program, whatever amount of days and frequency that you want. A good program should make it very clear to you what all the exercises are. You should not be looking at Bosu ball, reverse hanging sit up, and be like, how the hell do I do that? And what muscle does it work? And with online training, so I provide the programming with like video demos, explanations, and also video feedback. So you should have the power to send in videos to your coach so you can learn about the technique. Because again, that's a big part of it, like learning to get better with that and getting competent. And also communication is the last thing that's part of it. Like I'll text my clients back and forth throughout the week. They also log all their workouts. I can see what weights they did this week. If I notice a week of no workouts being done, I'll go and check in and ask if they're okay. And it's really someone that's where personal training in person, they are hyper focusing you for that 1 hour you're together. With online, a lot of it's asynchronous, but you actually get, I find, a lot more regular communication throughout the week. And you get a touch on a lot of the little things. You can talk about sleep and rest and nutrition and rest times and this and that. There's a lot more other things you get into with that.
Yeah, no, I mean, that was a great explanation of kind of what is offered. And I think one of the things I really like about it is that when you're in the gym, kind of the onus is still on you for you're pushing yourself, having that discipline.
Yeah.
And what I think it really helps with, and I think one of the hardest parts of lifting, especially when you're in that intermediate to more advanced phase, is progression and programming. I think programming and progression can be incredibly difficult, especially after you've been lifting for a couple of years. And so having a personal trainer, an online trainer that kind of maybe has some expertise and really does understanding the programming could be very invaluable for you to help crush through some PRs and make some gains. So I think, and again, one another reason too is financially it is far cheaper. I mean,
Yeah.
an in-person session can be like $100 a session, where online programs are normally around 100-ish a month. So
Yeah.
it's much more affordable. And again, you're not limited by like, oh, I can only go twice a week because that's the only time my trainer can see me. I can still train pretty often and record all that stuff. So I think the value of it is having that that second perspective, looking over your training and being like, okay, here's what we need to work on, here's what you're missing, and really kind of help tackle the problem of how do I get stronger, how do I get bigger, how do I improve my cardio and all that. So I think that type of like training can be really valuable, and I would actually say maybe even more valuable for intermediate and expert lifters who, again, programming is complicated. I don't think I'm the best at programming. So I think it would be I think that's a lot more worth it in a lot of ways. But with all that being said, it is also, there is so many BS online coaches. Like, you always hear this celebrity influencer coach just copy pasting programs and diet plans, not giving any feedback, not doing any of that stuff. Like, there's so much trash out there when it comes to online training too.
Yeah, that is that is so true. And you know, online, the whole field of online coaching is a topic for another day, but online fitness coaching becomes really common because it's so, with the internet nowadays, anybody can just go online and start calling them a fitness coach if they worked out a little bit. And here's the thing that I don't think a lot of these people understand is that coaching online, even if you coach in person, coaching online really is a whole different skill. Um, I had to learn it, you know, when I started doing online coaching when things shut down. And what's really hard is that you no longer get to see your client lift. You don't get to see, you know, if you program in a max deadlift, they are on their own. If they decide to super round their back, and that's the only way to know how to deadlift, and they snap their stuff up, there's nothing you can do about that. In the gym, you can tell them stop, 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 right? Like, there's nothing you do about that. And the big thing with online is you got to start thinking about all those things in your head. What are the possibilities? What is your client good at? What do they not understand? What do they understand well? And like, yes, you come out with like what just seems like a piece of paper or like a list of exercises, but with a good service, there's a lot of thought that's been put in that to hopefully make sure that you are kind of like built for success here. Yeah.
And I would say though, one of the easy ways to see if you're in a good program or not is how did they take your feedback? Like,
Yeah.
I know you and I talked about this, and you were mentioning you do this for your clients, where if your client is saying like, "Hey, listen, I can't do this exercise for XYZ reasons," or like, I really don't like doing this for whatever reason, you take it into account, you start adjusting everything, and you give them back, like, you maybe change stuff and then you provide the reason why, or you might not change it, but you still provide the reason why. And that's
Yes.
important, is like, you're paying for that feedback. You're paying, because anyone can go online and be like, you know what, let me do like starting strength, let me do 5-3-1. Like, those are all good programs. But what you're paying for again is those comments and those feedback and that way to adjust stuff. That's the value. And so if they don't
Great.
provide you with that, and like, it's crap. So I think that's like a very easy way to see if like someone's actually doing some good online personal training, or if they're just stringing you along.
Yeah, huge. And I think again, it always goes back to education, right? You know, a 5-3-1 program, it gives you the programming, and if you know how to lift, you can definitely succeed. But let's say your coach just gives you 5-3-1, but a good coach at least, like for example, if like, okay, why is it an 8 in week 4? Now we're at 90% for 3. Like, why is that? Or why is it that in week 6 suddenly everything dropped off? Maybe you don't know what a deload is, or you don't understand it. Your coach can give you context. That's actually very, in terms of your fitness journey, very life changing. Like, oh, I see. Like there's deload weeks, or oh, this is why we have to rest longer in between sets. Like, if you can learn something out of it, that's a lifelong thing. For the rest of the time you lift, now you know something new that can really enhance your experience.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, like, even going beyond that, about like, okay, like maybe we adjust some of the accessory movements too. Like, hey, I noticed you have a weak lockout, so maybe we're gonna throw in some rack pulls too, and just like kind of that critical thinking to help build you up even better in the program. Like, I think that would be really valuable.
Yeah, yeah. It's you know, I truly do believe in it, but I also truly think that it's a whole, even compared to regular personal training, it's still a whole different skill. And if you're looking for someone, you know, do try to make sure that they're actually very competent. It's definitely not easy, I don't think.
Yeah, exactly. And again, I do feel for people who, because I think me and you, we can see BS pretty well. I think we can smell it out. But again, if someone is coming in new, and again, this is what I really hate, is that they really can get tricked easily, and then it kind of blocks it. It causes this accessibility issue, and yeah, so. Again, I love the fitness world, but I think the fitness industry, man, there's we need some good people in there, Pat. So as much as I crap on personal trainers, I'm happy there's people like you. And I mean, also like your coach, I was able to meet him, fantastic guy. So good to have people like that out there.
Yeah, it's huge. You know, it's and I think we'll get into our Hall of Fame guy later, but you know, a lot of it is that over the years, it used to be that, you know, information used to not be able to come so quickly, even at the time of just televisions, right? Like, you know, like go on the internet, fitness content wasn't so much. There wasn't like 50,000 contrasting views.
Yeah.
Nowadays, every single guy says something different. It's hard for someone that like if I lost my memory and I had to start again on fitness today and I was like on Instagram or on YouTube, I'd be like, huh, he said that. He said that. Like what is correct? And it's really hard to know. And you know, there's a lot of great channels. Like I don't put out that much. Like some channels put out full on big videos of like free informative content, and that's awesome too. Like that's such a great way to start, and those people are doing very important work.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. No, I mean, that's the thing though. There's like insane amount of resources online, and I mean that's kind of also why we do the Natty Hall of Fame and all that to kind of maybe promote some of those good ones out there. But as much as there's good stuff, there are a lot of people trying to make a quick buck out here.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, you know, like for your argument that like everyone can learn about fitness online because there's so many resources. That's both the good and bad thing to it, in my
Yeah.
opinion, because uh, yes, you can find the resources. Yes, they're free, but with so many contrasting opinions, like who do you listen to, right? Do you listen to like V Shreds, or do you listen to Steve Cook, or do you listen to Athlean X, or do you listen to Pat Wu? Like who do you go and who do you listen to? You don't know, right? Like they all sound serious. They all have this certification. You know, they all apparently have 1,000 testimonials. Who do you pick? It's very, very difficult.
Yeah, do you know what? I wish Mike Chang would come back from Six Pack Shortcuts to reveal the truth.
Yeah, like towel push-ups. Were they a scam?
Oh, man, the towel rose, you mean? Oh man.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. Oh well, you know what? We've talked a lot about. I mean, you know, I always talk crap about these awful personal trainers and these charlatans, but let's talk about a natty legend in the Natty Hall of Fame. This is only just a Hall of Famer. This guy, this is natty history and a natty legend. This guy, like when I was reading about him, and you already know a lot about him, Pat, is it's really amazing the stuff he's done and how he's pushed forward the fitness community a lot. So I want you to have the honor. Who are we inducting in the Natty Hall of Fame?
Yeah. You know, today, someone that I used to see in commercials as a kid. It's Jack Lalanne. You know, we talk about the godfather of fitness. I'd give the title to this guy because he actually, I think, ran the first television show fitness oriented in the West. From what I know, he had the Jack LaLanne show from 1951 to 1985, where he came on weekly and just gave good fitness content that still stands up today, I would say. You know, talking about uh, the distribution of a meal, not necessarily measuring meals, but like having your serving of meat in a fist, like having serving of carbs and your vegetables, eating fruits, um, you know, doing exercise that are accessible. Like he he was very fit himself. He was a guy's a monster, but he didn't like start telling him, okay, yeah, just do sit-ups and squats. Like, why can't you do that? No, he started with like basic exercises. He liked jumping jacks, which for all I hate about them, they are very simple and accessible. And I think he transformed a lot of lives. It was free content. For everybody to view that had a television, and it was high quality, and you could tell he was just honest about it. You know, regardless of whether some things don't stand up scientifically today, he always gave his reasoning for why, and he was always very sincere about it. And that, again, we've mentioned is a huge thing in a trainer.
Man, I cannot agree more with you. Like, and I think one of the things too is he kept it simple. Like his show was really just like motivating people, just get up and move. Like we're not trying to train for the Olympics, we're not trying to train for a big thing. Like just get up, move, get a little active, and all that. And he was advocating for just eat a lot of fruits and vegetables, whole grains, and just a really good diet and exercise, and was just really building upon that. Like. And I think one of the big things he talked about was just like the fitness. It's simple. Like we all know we shouldn't be eating processed foods. We all know sitting on the couch for 10 hours watching TV isn't good for you. And I think he just gave that gentle reminder of us just going out there, having fun. And one other thing is he himself was like, he's like a humble guy too. Like he understands the travesty, he understands the difficulties, but he also understands this. You have to start with that little step.
Yeah, it's just like very accessible, and something else I'm reading about here is that he actually coached people who were elderly and physically disabled to exercise. That's very revolutionary for the time. I think even going up until today, there's still a lot of narratives that elderly people shouldn't do strength training and things like that. And that's not the answer. It's like elderly people should do strength training, but the barrier there is a great educator, and this guy was great, like at educating. Honestly, if he was around today and there was no other fitness content, I'd be out of a job. I wouldn't need to work. Like it's honestly good content that's applicable and done in a progressive way that everyone can try. Like yeah, it's amazing.
Well, and I have to also emphasize this guy was just not some TV host. Like this guy was a serious fitness guy. Like he's had some crazy accomplishments. Now, I want everyone to listen to this. At age 35, he did 1,000 jumping jacks and 1,000 chin-ups in an hour 22 minutes. Now that's just mind blowing.
Isn't it push-ups and push-ups and chin-ups? That's even crazier. That's harder.
Oh, my Wikipedia article says jumping jacks and chin-ups, but either way,
whatever he did,
that's insane. Like that is actually mind-blowing how hard that is, and he did at 35. Like my goodness, I think 0.001% of population could do that at any age. Like you could take like a supreme athlete, and that would be tough.
I got more accomplishments. So at age 70, that's crazy. Handcuffed, shackled, and fighting strong winds and currents, he towed 70 boats with 70 people from the Queensway Bridge in the Long Beach Harbor to the Queen Mary, which is 1.5 miles. I can't even swim 1.5 miles, and I'm also 24 years old, and I don't have 70 people towed. That's crazy.
Oh my goodness, man. Another one is at 32 years old, he claimed a world record of 1,033 push-ups in 23 minutes.
Holy crap. Okay, let's put that in context. How many do you think you could do in 23 minutes?
Oh man, dude. I think 200. I think I could do 200 in 23 minutes.
Yeah, like I think about 10 a minute on the minute would get pretty hard. Like maybe if like something huge is on the line, maybe 300. But he did 1,000. Like how?
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm saying 200 would be tough. Like that's not an easy 200. And so like he did 5 times that, and also he's double my age.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. This man's amazing. Like I think he checks all the boxes for a great trainer. Education, transparent. He really helped make it accessible, like on TV, and just giving like an assortment of advice. And he really walked the walk. Like, and he swam the swam. Like he just did all the things.
I do have to say he has one flaw, and again, like it's really hard to find anything wrong with him, and this doesn't take away. He did invent the Smith machine.
Oh man.
So again, it doesn't take away anything from him, but is one flaw, is one oopsie.
True. I mean, it's Smith machine. It is what it is. I think he also invented the pulley machine though. So I think cable machines owe it to him. So
okay. Yeah, you know what? That's forgiven. You know what? The Smith machine is forgiven. But he invented the pulley machine, man. Yeah, he's done a lot.
Yeah, we owe our face pulls to him.
And I mean, also, his whole thing was proven. Like he lived up to 96 years old, and people were saying even in his 90s, he was still doing regular exercise. He was still moving around. So I mean, the man lived an amazing life and has helped a ton of people. Like a real, true inspiration, and someone who really, honestly, it's such a like. He really understood it. He really understood the simplicity and importance of just moving around and eating right.
Yeah, and a huge part of health, I would say, it's not always how long you live, but just being able to keep a high quality. No, I'm of the opinion nobody knows how long they live, but if we're as physically fit as possible, we have more possibilities. I don't think that's debatable. And he was able to do workouts into his 90s, walking and working out. And I'm reading this quote here, and he said, like, when people asked him, like, holy crap, he still works out. He's like, yeah. He said, if I died, people would say, oh look, Jack LaLanne died. He didn't practice what he preached if he didn't work out. So he just kept doing it.
Oh my goodness, man. That is wild. Oh man.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah, so I think there's no debate about it, contrary to what we did today with our debate, but I think he deserves to be in our Natty Hall of Fame. Also an inductee as a Natty legend, and also a piece of Natty history for all you listeners.
Definitely. And you know what? I when we were researching this, I found a quote of his that I think would really be good and kind of exemplifies the message. So to kind of end, we want to mention Jack LaLanne and his message of dying is easy, living is a pain in the butt. It's like an athletic event. You've got to train for it. You've got to eat right. You've got to exercise. Your health account, your bank account, they're the same thing. The more you put in, the more you can take out. Exercise is king, nutrition is queen. Together you have a kingdom. I don't think I could sum up any fitness advice better than that.
Holy crap. Oh man. That's amazing. I've actually never read this quote before. That's amazing. That justifies it right there. That is why we do it.
Yeah, no, beautifully said. And Jack LaLanne, thank you so much for all you've done, and welcome to the Natty Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
All right, Pat, any last things you want to say?
Just the usual. I think we'll be up on YouTube again this week, so make sure you subscribe to us. We guarantee that watching the YouTube is more fun than listening to us as a podcast. You get to see us laughing at each other and flexing and do whatever we usually do. Make sure you subscribe. Wrong arm. 12-inch arms continue. But otherwise, we're always on Instagram, Natty News Podcast. You guys know it. And we'd love to hear feedback. This is a very interesting episode. I think, I don't think we came up with a definitive answer about training. And we'd love to hear your views, whether you are a trainer in the industry or whether you're someone that has ever thought about getting a trainer, or maybe you never thought about it and you're thinking about it now after what you heard. So love to hear your thoughts.
Definitely. No, this would be an interesting one to hear other people's experiences. And hey, you know what? Maybe some people wish they got a trainer instead of going like the route I did or other people did. And yeah, it'd be great to hear those experiences.
Yeah, definitely. Yep. Anything else from you, Anwar?
No, I think we're good. So if that's it, well, I hope you all keep on making those natty gains, and Natty News out.
Natty News out.